Hello, everyone. Thanks. I'm so excited to be here. I'm Gil Elbaz. I'm the founder and CEO of Factual. Very excited to tell you some thoughts about data liquidity and its importance to the innovation cycle. So first, just a bit about me. Where am I coming from? I've been a data junkie for a while. It goes way back before the O'Reilly folks have done a great job making data sexy. Back in the 70s, it was that Farmer's Almanac, perhaps, that first exposed me to that wealth of information, this incredibly dense compendium of factual knowledge. And I felt so powerful as I could wield this index of information. Things like any annual city, the annual population changes in any US state, or the weather trends, the highs and lows in any month in any city. A few years later, it was cable TV, 1981. You can imagine the excitement for an 11-year-old data junkie. The ticker symbols going across that screen on the financial channel. But on weekends, the market was closed. So we fed our addiction with weather data. And true story, I would place odds, make bets with my family on hourly changes in the temperature. So yeah, on a boring afternoon. I felt a little guilty that I was wielding this almanac that gave me a little bit of the unfair information advantage. It was a little bit weaselly thing to do. But today, the data developers, the data-savvy developers, the data scientists that know how to make use of reams of information, that know how to leverage huge data clusters, it's not weaselly at all. That's the future. It's amazing. Little did I know that fairly dry weather information would be a precursor to these exciting, complex models. Kirk Scoggin talked about narrowing the damage that a hurricane would do from 200 miles down to a 10-mile radius. Little did I know that today, weather betting would be a $12 billion, weather derivatives, technically, but it's a $12 billion industry. So it's amazing the kind of innovation that you see when you do make the data available, accessible. It makes me think of that saying that teach a man to fish and he'll eat for life, but just maybe it should be updated to say, teach a man to fish, he'll eat for life, if that ocean remains accessible. The question is our sea of data open? Is it accessible? And my perspective on this is that no, it's not. Accessibility is about liquidity. It's about knowing what you want and it being very easy to locate the vendor, to understand the quality of the data, to have a reasonable market price, to be able to stitch it into your application quickly and easily. I don't think we're quite there. Now, to be clear, I'm not talking about some sort of socialist redistribution of the world's data, and I listened carefully to what we heard today earlier about privacy and its importance. I just think there are new models that will incentivize the opening up, the breaking down of these silos. So I think it's very important. Why should this be on your radar? Why is this very important to all of us, to consumers? Well, let me share a recent event, little story. A family friend, I got this news that they received this bad prognosis that this friend was diagnosed with CMML, which is a rare form of leukemia. And as you can imagine, it's very overwhelming, the questions that have to be answered right away. Which doctors have the exact right experience with this disease, and which doctor to trust, which treatments are safest. So many questions. Now, somebody who is web savvy and knows how to take advantage of the terrific resources on the web, acor.org, which is this terrific community of patients and survivors that are dedicated to helping each other. If you have a great social network on and offline, yes, maybe you can stitch these dots of data together and make your decisions. But for too many, the answers are simply not found in time to save one's life. And that's particularly frustrating to me when I think about the fact that so often it's not for lack of data, it's for lack of data access. The answers are out there. If you can stitch the dots together, if you can make the data available to those people that know how, that the future could be grand. Silos of data in genetic sequencing labs, your doctor's notes, personal health records, on your Fitbit, nutritional information that the government's tracking on foods. There's so much data out there. So if we can somehow figure out how these walls of these silos if we can reduce the barriers, if we can increase liquidity, I think there's an opportunity. If we look at the history of the web, we do see waves of openness. Web 1.0, as everyone knows, traditional content coming online so that users connect in whole new ways. And Web 2.0, users, maybe 1 billion, putting their entire lives online so they can connect with their network unlike ever before. There's going to be new models. There's a coming wave of innovation based on new silos coming down. I think one key driver that you can keep track of is the API that facilitates machine-to-machine transactions at scale. If you look at programmable web's API catalog, you'd see doublings, increasing doublings from 400 to 4,000 listed over the last few years. The question is, will we continue to see this accelerate, expand? Will there be a Moore's law of information access, not just information technology? I think my excitement is that there are new catalysts, there are new models that are continuing to incentivize, and so I'm optimistic. There's new models that emphasize building relationships, the speed of learning, learning quickly, new revenue models on the horizon, and I think that these new opportunities will become clear. The first one I'd like to talk about is the data marketplace, online data markets. People understand that with APIs, you can have a freemium model, you can start generating. We're seeing companies starting to generate real revenues. With a proliferation of these API and data offerings, we are starting to see B2B markets evolve. We see some young companies like InfoChimps, datamarket.com, and others that that are aggregating supply and demand and providing an opportunity to say what you want and to get access to it without the hassle of a lot of negotiation. Instant access, it's reducing friction, and as we've heard, that's what helps make everyone go faster. Imagine a world where it is the eBay of data, where you can know that you need a database of physicians, what insurance they take, malpractice lawsuits, whatever it is you need, and you can quickly and easily have people competing for your attention, and you can move forward. I think it's going to be quite an opportunity. Second, the model is data for data, open exchanges of data. On the consumer side, we've seen the power of a company like Jigsaw. We're seeing new opportunities for companies to see the data that they have and use that in trade effectively to augment and enrich what they have so they can run their business even better. At Factual, we've built this tremendous global database of places. It's something like 40 million places, restaurants, hotels, places of interest. We've been able to do this because our partners have really embraced this idea of data for data. We heavily incentivize these companies to share with us. And so if not for all of this raw information that we've been able to aggregate and then we apply our unique technologies on it to clean it up, we would never be able to offer such a service that the market seems to really like. Again, I think it's a win-win, this open model, and we're happy to be part of that open ecosystem. Next, data for insight is incredibly exciting. I think we're familiar with the notion of a Netflix prize. Kaggle is a company that's taken this to the next level. They've built a platform where anybody can post data, post an incentive, and have Kaggle's very large community of data scientists work overtime, compete to try to extract insight, to try to extract noise from that signal, signal from the noise. It's been a successful model. There's a $3 million prize for predictive medicine right now where the scientists are literally trying to predict from 100,000 de-identified patient records who will live and who will die, predicting who needs urgent preventative care. So it's a really exciting model. At Foldit, it was another very interesting story recently where the gamers, in 10 days, they solved a protein folding that were eluding scientists for 15 years. So a lot of interesting stories there. So kind of wrapping up, these are just 3 of many new models that are incentivizing companies to willingly open their silos. The wave of innovation that's going to come from that is really exciting. I'm happy to be part of it and want to work with many of you to build that future. So good evening. One last prediction. I think it's going to be a low of 60 tonight, so bundle up. I will place money on that. So thank you very much.
Hey, thank you, Joe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.